You never know what you're gonna find when you're cleaning out the works. Expect the unexpected. Sometimes yesterday's leftovers,
Wood chips, Gabe.
become today's treasures. Let me share a secret recipe. Discover an ingredient that fires your imagination. Choose other flavors to match. Find the best way to cook them.
Simple is best.
My secret recipe? Cooking without a recipe.
You can do it too. You can do it too.
If your kitchen's anything like mine, chances are it gets messy pretty fast and constantly needs to be cleaned up. Especially the fridge. Sometimes this turns into a bit of a black hole full of forgotten leftovers and even some old friends. I know dinner's in there somewhere, and I'm not going to need a recipe to find it. Look at all this stuff. Now, I always seem to have onions in here, and lemons too. Green olives, those will play. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, some celery. That's looking good. My mom used to be able to just open up the fridge and whip up dinner for us. It's something you can do at home. It's actually a bit of an art form, taking leftovers and turning them into something new. What else do we have? Baked potatoes, bacon. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Hamburger meat. Oh, it's in great shape. Now, what am I going to make for dinner? Well, definitely burgers. Hamburgers. I pulled these out of the freezer a couple days ago. For years, I was a chef in a fine dining restaurant and suppressed my burger urges because they just weren't on the menu. Now that I'm a chef at home, I've been playing around with burger straight time. These are on the menu around here quite often. And I've discovered that some things you can add to burgers and some things you can't add to burgers. There's two basic things that you always have to add to your burger meat. And that, of course, is salt and pepper. There's no such thing as too much ground black pepper in a good burger. And this is a good place to use up some of those leftover onions, too. And of course, a lot of times you put onions on top of your burger, so there's no reason they won't work inside your burger. What else do we have? Oh, spices. There's one herb that I really like, and that is oregano. Dried oregano seems to work nicely in burger meat. We had beef stew for dinner the other night, and you can take the meat itself, the chunks of the meat, and dice it up and put it into the meat. And it'll work because it's already got beef flavor in it. Okay, and then all you gotta do is just mix it up good. If there's something you really like with your burger, experiment, play around. Okay, now here's how I actually form the burgers. I start with a 4-ounce chunk or so. For a long time, we used to make big, thick burgers like that. But these days, we know better. You've got to be able to cook the burger all the way through. And a thick burger like that, by the time the heat penetrates to the center, you've overcooked the outside of the burger and it's dried out. You can have the best of both worlds. You can have a burger that's cooked all the way through and hasn't dried out. Just make it nice and thin. And the way I see it, the more surface area you have, the better, because the surface area is where the flavor is. When that hits the grill and chars, that's flavor. I like to be extra careful when I'm working with raw meat. You really can do a little cross-contamination. Now, the only thing wrong with these burgers right now is that I haven't turned the grill on yet, and I'm hungry right now. I guess I'm going to have to put these away for the time being. Now, it's still a mess in here. Now, I'm pretty sure I saw some chickpeas in here. There they are. And some tahini. I'm going to make some hummus, one of my all-time favorite snacks. Really easy to make, too. You just need the basic ingredients. Chickpeas, tahini, which is ground sesame seeds. It's a paste, just like peanut butter, really, only it's made out of sesame seeds. Some lemon juice to brighten up the flavors. I knew it. I saw some roast garlic in here ahead of this leftover. You could use raw garlic if you had it, but roast garlic, nice mellow flavor. It'll be nicer. And if you want to, you can add some parsley as well. Another ingredient you can use in hummus is simply olive oil, just to thin it out a little bit. And a touch of salt. Excellent. And I know I've got pitas here somewhere. There they are. Nice and bright. This is how you clean out the fridge. You just start hauling stuff out and cooking. Now, what's next? Cleaning out the fridge means more than just using up leftovers. It's a chance to throw culinary caution to the winds. Experiment a bit. Today I'm whipping up burgers my style. I began with freshly thawed ground beef. I added minced onions, ground pepper, salt, dried oregano, and for an extra special optional touch, shredded cubes of beef from a leftover beef stew. I always seem to have leftover potatoes, which is cool because now I can make the all-time best potato dish. My favorite, smashed potatoes. This is so simple. Just put some potatoes on a baking pan and then smash them down a bit until they spread out about twice as far as they began. Now look, if you don't have one of these fancy smashers, these potato masher deals, just grab a plate and use that. There we go. Smash it down good. Really spread it out. And once you've really smashed them open like that, take some really nice olive oil and sprinkle it over top of each one. Season it with salt and pepper. Now I like to add fennel seeds too. Sprinkle them on. And then pop this into your oven at the highest setting you've got. Give her the heat, 500 degrees. The whole idea now is to let that oil crisp up these potatoes. These are going to be good, especially if you like crisp potatoes like I do. Now, good thing I am doing potatoes today because I got this ketchup to use up. Sometimes now and then I go out on these crazy kicks and I make my own ketchup. It's actually pretty simple to make. Begin with a large can of ripe tomatoes. Add a small can of tomato paste and a large chopped onion. Add a cup of red wine vinegar, a half cup of sugar, and a half cup of olive oil. Season with a spoonful of nutmeg, a few bay leaves, and a pinch of salt. Bring to a simmer and reduce by half. Puree until smooth. Nutmeg. Tomato is actually not the dominant flavor in most ketchup that you buy. Nutmeg is. That's because most ketchup is so loaded with sugar, there's no room left for the tomato. And that's why I often make my own, because I like the flavor of tomato in my ketchup and nutmeg. Now, I've got some romaine lettuce. Maybe I'll make a salad with that. This definitely needs to get used up. It's looking good. It's been around a few days, though. And whenever I see romaine lettuce, the first thing that pops into my head is Caesar dressing. It's really nothing but a lemon juice, Worcestershire, anchovy flavored vinaigrette, and the normal rules of vinaigrette engagement apply. I'll start with some really good olive oil. Now, lemon juice. I'll just strain that in here. One thing you definitely don't put into a Caesar dressing is lemon seeds. Now, when I make vinaigrettes, I like to follow a very simple rule. I always like to have 1 part sour, the vinegar or the lemon juice, and 3 parts everything else. So looking at that there, I still have room for the everything else part, and that's all the flavoring. Next up, I need some mustard, Dijon mustard. I also need some anchovies, some Parmesan, and I wonder if there's any more roast garlic. There is. Cool. Mustard has the unique ability to encourage oil and water to come together, to emulsify. Anchovy paste. Now, for a lot of you, I know that this part is optional, and that's cool. You don't have to use it to make a good, tasty dressing. Look, oh, I'm doing good today. Now I don't have any leftover anchovy paste. Gone. Let's see. Roast garlic is a wonderful way to get garlic flavor without all the pungency of the garlic that sometimes turns people off. And last but not least, some Parmesan cheese. Good Caesar dressing should be nice and cheesy. The more, the better. Now, let's see what it tastes like. Oh, lots of flavors in there. Lemon juice, nice and bright. Cheese flavor. Anchovy in the background. Bright olive oil flavor. Just thought of something, though. I always keep my bacon grease when I bake bacon off. This is actually the secret ingredient that a lot of restaurants use when they're making Caesar dressing. Just a little bit of bacon fat. Not too much. There's a whack of bacon flavor right there. I'll just put some of that in. This is obviously a dish you're not going to find on the menu at any local spa, but it sure will taste good. Totally. Very nice. That's how you make a darn tasty Caesar dressing and clean the fridge out at the same time. I love freestyle cooking, especially when I'm cleaning out the fridge. For me, leftovers are just an excuse to experiment a bit and see what I can create. Every now and then I pull everything out of the fridge that I need to use up and whip up dinner. Today I'm making burgers. And for the burgers, I mix freshly thawed ground beef with onions, pepper, salt, dried oregano, and shredded cubes of beef from a leftover beef stew. And every good burger also needs pickles, so I think I'll whip up a batch of those real quick too. I've got a leftover cucumber to use. And pickles are actually pretty simple to make. You basically just need to add vinegar to whatever it is you're pickling, in this case a cucumber. And I'm also going to add some leftover red onions to this. You don't just have to pickle cucumbers. You can pickle a lot of things, including onions. To pickle these, I simply need to add a splash of vinegar. But to pickle them quickly, I need to heat the vinegar up. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to add the vinegar, and to the vinegar, I'm going to add a big splash of sugar. And I'll just bring that up to the heat. And once it comes to a simmer and forms a vinegar syrup, I'll just dump it right over top, and those will pickle in no time at all. And I might as well take advantage of the heat here to flavor this a bit. Dill, of course, dill pickles. So I'm just going to throw dill right into here. Lots of dill sprigs. Toss them right in. Now all I have to do is just dump the hot vinegar right over top of that, and all of those flavors will mold and melt together. It's going to make a really tasty, quick pickle. Pickling is a way to add flavor, which will happen very quickly here because as soon as that sour vinegar hits these crisp onions and crisp cucumber, they're going to wilt and soften very quickly. And in fact, the leftovers are going to taste even better because this will just get better with thyme, or in this case, with dill. And speaking of thyme, it's time to light the barbecue. To grill or not to grill, whether 'tis nobler to saute. Hey, when burgers are on the menu, there's only one choice. You grill them. That's because a good burger has two basic flavors. There's that beef thing, which is pretty important, but then there's the roasting, caramelizing, searing meat thing, the flavor of the grill. There's also that sticking thing. Have you ever had food stick to your grill? Well, the best way to avoid that is to preheat the grill at maximum heat. There is a good way to bring some of the flavor of a real wood fire to the grill. Here's how I do it. Wood chips. Now, when you're using wood chips, the best thing to do is soak them in water. Get them good and wet. That way, they don't burst into flames as soon as you put them on the grill. You want them to release their smoke slowly, and by soaking them in water, that's exactly what'll happen. Now, what kind of wood chip to use? Well, these days, there's a lot of choices. Go to your local hardware store and see what they have. Hey. It used to be if you wanted wood chips, you had to run out into the forest and chop down your own tree. Not anymore. Now you can just head off to the local hardware store. So which wood goes with which food? Well, it's pretty simple. In fact, it's as simple as hickory, dickory, dock. There's three things to know. First of all, no softwood. Softwood is very high in oil. That oil gets into the smoke. The oil lands on the food ends up tasting like turpentine. Forget the softwood. Secondly, lighter flavored smokes go with lighter flavored foods. Heavy smoke, heavy food. Woods like alder and maple go with fish, lighter flavors. Heavy woods like mesquite and hickory go with big, beefy flavors. But if you can find them, the best woods of all are the fruit woods. Applewood, cherrywood, loaded with not just smoke flavor, but perfume and aroma. But most importantly, number 3, smell the wood chips. If you like the way they smell, you're going to love the way they taste. And once that puppy is smoking hot, it's time to fire the burgers. At last. That's exactly the sound I was hoping to hear. That sizzle means that my burgers are going to cook just right. The grill is preheated. Oh, I love the smell of those wood chips. It really adds so much flavor to a good burger. Now, this is a very important tool, but it's for flipping burgers, not for smashing all the flavor out of them. In other words, no matter what you do, don't press the burger. All that juice flowing out of the burger, that's flavor. It belongs in the burger. Leave it alone. Now, of course, to maximize the flavor of the smoke, it's best to shut that lid right down and create a smokehouse in there. Lock all the heat in there, lock all the smoke flavor in too. From a fridge full of leftovers to a buffet full of burger fixings. Compliments of the Burgermeister. I've got everything I need except for crisp potatoes. These things have been tantalizing me for the last half hour. They smell so good. And look at them, nice and crisp. I guarantee if you try these smashed potatoes, you'll never make potatoes any other way again. These are awesome. And with that, almost everything's ready. I've got green lettuce, red tomatoes, yellow cheese, blue cheese. The last of the leftovers. Look at that fridge. Is that a thing of beauty or what? Awesome. Looks like I'm going shopping tomorrow. And now I'm ready to finish those burgers up. Now, not everybody around here likes blue cheese on their burgers. That's why I've got some of the yellow stuff standing by. Blue cheese has such a distinctive flavor, but I think it stands up nicely to the flavor of the grill, the flavor of the beef. This is going to be good. I've cooked in fancy restaurants all over the world. I've literally cooked for kings, queens, and presidents. And now look at me. I've been demoted back to Burgers 101. Actually, I think it's a promotion because I'm right where I want to be, cooking dinner for my family. There's a blue cheese one for me, a yellow cheese one for Gabe, and a nice aged cheddar one for Rachel. And the moment I've been waiting for. Now that's a burger. When you cook without a recipe, the result can be as delicious as this burger. It's not just a way to clean out the refrigerator, it's a way to take control of your own kitchen. Most importantly, it's a way to have fun while you cook. Hey, I know you.
Did you make the ketchup?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Ketchup!
Can you get all that in your mouth at once?
Yeah, but
Salad's great.
I cleaned out the entire fridge today. Where
Did you?
do you see it?
It's a really good burger. What's the vinaigrette?
I just made a Caesar dressing. Are you eating Daddy's burger?
yeah.